All right, what is going on, Chiefs Kingdom? Welcome back to the KC Sports Report. Michael Darcy, your host here as always, and today I have the pleasure of being joined by my good friend Lucas Murphy. He's a contributor over at Inside the Royals and Blue Wings Rising, both publications of Fan Nation. And we're going to talk about if the Chiefs should trade for wide receiver Kadarius Toney. So, Lucas, Kadarius Toney is reportedly being shopped around for different teams in the NFL. Allegedly, according to Pat Leonard of New York Daily News, the Giants have had enough and they're trying to trade him. Now, there is no linking between Kadarius Toney and the Chiefs. This video is just purely speculation, but I do think it's kind of interesting. So, Lucas, what are your initial thoughts on Kadarius Toney, and would you want him in a Chiefs uniform?
Initially, I was kind of excited when he was rumored to the Chiefs when he was going to get drafted. I was a big fan. I like his skill set. I think he's a very good gadget receiver. We've seen that and it kind of translate a little bit into the NFL. Now, he has had some injuries. Sounds like he's had some kind of,
character issues would be a good word.
Character issues, personality issues, I guess you could say. But I think, the initial idea of him becoming a Chief through the draft, I was super pumped. Now, obviously, that didn't happen. He was taken by the Giants. But I also think that speaks to him as a football player and as a person, that if he was really a very talented receiver with a good personality and things like that, why would the Giants be shopping him a year after his, draft year? I think that's kind of suspicious, but I also think that, speaks to the type of person and player he is. And so I from that standpoint, I don't want the Chiefs to, if that were to happen, I would not want them to pursue him. You and I had a conversation about the draft, and I think with this year, the way the draft is set up and staged, and I think that the Chiefs could obviously make a lot better decisions through the draft than trading for a Kadarius Toney. We also have to remember that we did draft Cornell Powell. He did go through the entire season on the practice squad. He did spend some time down with Patrick Mahomes down in Texas during the offseason. So that is another player, not that they're the same skill set, but that is also another good receiver that's kind of still within this Chiefs organization. So I'm not overly, buying into or looking into him potentially even coming to the Chiefs, even if that were a rumor, just because I think the Chiefs are, hey, he got drafted to the Giants, and we're kind of past that.
Yeah, funny enough, the Chiefs do have a history, well, at least recent history, of picking up former Giants players who had some character issues, which was DeAndre Baker. But, when you look at Kadarius Toney, the dude can fly. He ran a 4.3 at the Combine, and last year he had 39 catches for 420 yards, averaging 10.7 yards per catch. So the talent is there. Like, there is no doubt in my mind that if you gave him a better quarterback and not Daniel Jones, he would be a 700 to 1,000-yard receiver in a good offense. I truly believe that. The problem is, I think that he is going to be his own downfall. If he can find a way to kind of correct himself and make better decisions, I think he's going to be a really good player in the NFL. But last year, according to Pat Leonard of New York Daily News, he didn't really learn the playbook. He was lazy. He didn't have good meeting etiquette, which I think actually was him falling asleep in meetings. And he had some injury problems last year. So I think that almost kind of led to the Giants' decision of potentially trading him. I think that they're probably just sick of the headache. But also, let's be honest, the Giants are not a really well-run organization. They have a lot of problems. They just hired a new coach in Brian Daboll, and I think that he wants to turn that franchise around. But it almost makes you wonder that they're going to have to completely overhaul that offense. And it is odd that they're going to get rid of a first-round draft pick from just a year ago. But, like you said, I think the character issues is his biggest problem. That's kind of what is making me hesitant about it. But, Lucas, I'm going to ask you this question. If we find out tomorrow that we could get him for a fourth-round draft pick, would you do that?
As crazy as it sounds, man, I was a big fan, but I'm going to say no. I think because, and this is me, I believe that the Chiefs front office have the ability to scout players. I think that they have the ability to go out and find guys of his stature in this upcoming draft, and maybe him not have the personality issues or the character traits that Kadarius Toney has. I know there's rumors that they're looking at George Pickens, who kind of has some off-field stuff as well, but I don't know. I just think that if I'm going to do that, then I would have to know that he's going to be committed, and I don't know if you can actually find that out. So I'm going to go ahead and say I would pass.
When it's kind of like the Deebo Samuel situation in a sense that I don't think the Chiefs are going to go out there less than a week before the draft and trade away one of those assets to get a wide receiver when they could spend one of those draft picks to get their own guy, a guy that they like much more, who might not have the character issues of Kadarius Toney, and I think that might be what the organization has in mind. Now, Kadarius Toney has shown flashes. Like I said, having 420 yards off of 39 catches is really good for being a rookie, especially in an offense led by Jason Garrett. So I think that is something to look at, but, you got to look at the character issues. His commitment might not be there, and, we're coming up so close to the draft that if anything does happen, I think it would be for next year's draft pick and not this year's.
Yeah, 100%. I agree.
So, Lucas, I mean, there isn't a lot to talk about because, we don't know if he is going to be linked to the Chiefs, but I think what made me want to talk about this subject in particular is because, whenever you hear about a troubled player that has had some problems, specifically first-round draft picks, Brett Veach is usually on the phone trying to figure out a way to get that guy to Kansas City. DeAndre Baker, the guy from the Raiders, Damon Arnett, he had a slew of problems. They brought him in after he practically said he was going to kill a guy on IG. So I think that, he might have some character concerns. Definitely not as bad as Damon Arnett. But I think this is something to keep an eye on. The Chiefs are willing to get a good wide receiver, and Kadarius Toney's speed, it might be an interesting option for the Chiefs. So, Chiefs Kingdom, let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. Would you trade for Kadarius Toney, and what would you give up in return? I think for me, I'm not super high on the idea. If you threw out a 5th-round draft pick and said, go get this guy, I would not be against that. Now, I know Lucas thinks differently, which is fair because he's got some problems, but I think for a 5th-round draft pick, it would be worth the risk. So, Lucas, it's always an honor and a privilege to have you on. Where can the people find you?
Head over to, obviously, kcsportsreport.com, guys. We're going to be ramping it up over there with the draft coming up and kind of highlighting the players that are selected. So there's going to be a lot of content coming from there. The main source is going to be the Beat of KC on Twitter. You guys are going to find everything that I'm involved with from the Royals at Inside the Royals. You're going to see our podcast over there, Talking Royals, the Royals Rundown. And then you're also going to get all the information from Blue Wings Rising, which is the Kansas stuff. And there is a lot of still stuff going on, guys. Baseball, off-season football, off-season basketball. Like, there's so much stuff going on. So you'll get all that culmination of all that good stuff in Kansas City on one site through the Beat of KC. So head over there.
Guys, definitely go do that. Lucas has been plugging away at the website, and we've seen a lot of growth there. So go subscribe to not only this YouTube channel, but the website. All you got to do is put in your email for updates on the articles that get dropped. As for me, you can follow me on Twitter. That is at KC Sports Report. Instagram is KC_Sports Report. Until next time, guys, thank you for watching this video, and go Chiefs.